My name is Jason Campbell. I teach choir and theater, and I've been here for 5 years. When I started teaching, I started at Mueller Park. I taught there for a semester, basically filling in for a teacher, and then I came here and taught choir and theater. I've coached or taught in some genre my whole life because I was a head coach for a gymnastics program for 16 years before I went into teaching. I loved seeing that I could help people and seeing that I was part of that process of them getting better and the excitement that they felt as they progressed. So I went to college. I knew from that moment, I'm like, well, I know I'm gonna be a teacher. What do I like doing? And I started loving the performing arts not until my senior year of high school. And it was really only because I got a stress fracture running cross country that I even auditioned for a play. And it was funny because as I was doing the play, when I was in sports, I thought, okay, well, I'd really love it if I could have a day off from practice. But when they canceled a rehearsal, I was the first one to email the teacher going, why are you canceling rehearsal? Like, this is what I've been looking forward all day to this. And I thought, okay, if I love something this much, this is something I need to do. I feel like bringing the program up from when I started was exciting for me. But I think the biggest thing is you have to be an advocate for the students. You have to get them excited. You have to get them excited to perform. And I think the biggest thing that helped build the program was from day one of choir and for theater, my main goal is this is a safe place for you to perform and be yourself. And a lot of people feel like if someone's different, they are bad or they're wrong. And a lot of students worry about judgment. And so day one, I say we are not allowed to judge other people. We are not allowed to make anyone feel bad for the choices they make as a performer or for the mistakes that they make as a performer. The more that they can be excited to perform, the more they're going to tell other people about their excitement to perform, the more willing they are to follow rules and procedures in class, the more willing they are to put themselves out there as performers. And through all of that, I feel like that's the biggest thing that's helped this program just grow, is just getting them comfortable. I had 78 parents volunteering and running the show this year. And not only did we have a parent over each department, I have a lead parent who is over the lead's parents. So they go to her with questions so they don't come to me, so that one person's coming to me, not 15. Then I also had a parent who's over the volunteers. Now I show up to opening night of a show where I'm usually running around and doing everything, and I'm going to do things and a parent's already done it, and I've gone to do something else and a parent already started that. To me, it's inspiring to see the support that we have in Davis County because we have truly amazing parents. Teaching for me is a hobby. Like, if I didn't have bills to pay, I would still do this job. Like, I'd be sending emails, I'd be lesson planning. If I didn't have bills to pay, this is what I would do, because the energy you get from students, especially in performing arts, it's something that lifts me up every day. If I'm having a bad day, I just show up to work and I feel much better when I leave because the kids are just so excited about performing and about wanting to do more that it's, like I said, it's daily. And if I didn't have bills, I would still do it.
My name is Kristen Dyer, and I'm the Syracuse High Child Care Coordinator. I've been in child care for 28 years, so some things are just the way of life, you know. The criteria that I looked at when trying to decide if it was going to be for me or not was fairly easy. You know, I love to make people's day. I love to make sure that they're happy, safe, and so when it came available, I was able just to apply and hope for the best, and it turned out well. You know, when I'm trying to teach the students about flexibility and what might be happening with the parent, it takes time to really understand that. However, so say I had a child that came in this morning and she was really upset because her chickens weren't going to come home with her. You know, I know another little girl who has chickens at home, so we just started this dialogue about, you know what, I bet you Avonlea will bring pictures of her chickens. She gave me a hug, it settled her down, Mom was able to say goodbye, and we went about our day. I was always taught when I went to school that if you stand above a child and try to have a conversation with them, it's not gonna work. So for me, I spend a lot of time on the floor. You know, I get down with them, I interact with them, they'll jump in my lap, we'll have conversations about what's going on at home. And then, you know, I play with them. That's what this is all about, is just we're playing with them and getting to know what they like or they don't like. Some of the challenges that we deal with on a daily basis are allergies. I don't do it alone. This is a collective effort. I have 2 assistants. And then I have 64 high school students that rotate through here every 90 minutes, and so it's really teaching them how important it is to look at labels, read it again, have somebody else double check it, and then we go behind them and we're always checking to make sure that they're not getting something that they shouldn't. We have 34 children in the center ranging from 6 weeks to 5 years. So that's the children aspect. Then I have students, and I typically will work with juniors and seniors because they've had to go through child development, child care A and child care B before they can come over to me. And then it's on a daily basis, I get to know their personalities. I understand their body language. I've got a few students who are going through a really hard time. 2 years ago, I had a student that was sitting in the hall every single day at lunchtime by herself, and I said, how about you take my class? And she did, and by the end of the school year, she now is passing her classes, she feels a part of, and she feels safe. The students aren't ridiculing her because she's no longer sitting in the hall, she's in my classroom, and she said for the first time she felt love. I absolutely love those students that fit nowhere else in this school. They're not jocks, they're not cheerleaders, they're not on the dance line. Academically, they're not soaring. They fit nowhere. But if I can get my hands on them and I can say, you belong here, they can come into this classroom, and then the kids start to love them because there are no judgments, and you just watch them blossom.
My name's Christy Fong. I work as a math coach at both Fremont Elementary and Whitesides Elementary. I've been at Fremont for, I guess this is my 4th year, and Whitesides, this is my 3rd year. I started back into teaching with Davis School District as a math coach, so I've been here 4 years as of late, but I taught for Davis School District a million years ago. I think from the time I was little, I wanted to teach. My grandmother came from Japan as a match-made bride, and she started a school to teach Japanese to the American-born children. So I would watch her. She lived with us. I'd watch her. I always thought teaching was something I'd like to do. I taught my little brothers and sisters. That was just something natural for me. And so when I got into college, I have to say my dad was a little disappointed that I was going to choose to go into education, and I pretty much had to promise him a master's degree straight through if I chose education. But I've always been a part of the educational world, not just in classrooms but in publishing, and so I've felt very fortunate of all that I've gotten back from that career path I chose. I've always loved math, and I think math can be a lot of fun. So often kids they feel like a failure if they can't do math, and to me, everybody can be great at math. You can take math to high levels. You're not just born with a math gene. It depends on how hard you want to work with it. And face it, today, if kids don't stay with math, they don't have much of a future anymore. They've got to be able to problem solve. That's what their world's going to be. So we can't teach math in old ways. I like seeing kids come up to me in the hall and say, Mrs. Fong, I love math. Mrs. Fong, it's the math store today. Mrs. Fong, I solved the problem. Because kids start in the primary grades loving math, but through the years they tend to dislike it. When I started teaching, it was in the day of mimeograph, and I'd sit at that mimeograph machine with all that purple on my sleeve, and I thought there has got to be a better way to teach, because I'm frustrated with this printing, and I know they're frustrated just filling in worksheets. So I started taking a lot of classes through the Utah Council of Teachers of Math, and by some fluke, they nominated me to that council as an officer. I was able to work with the likes of Carl Jones and Muffet Reeves, and they really showed me ways that math could be taught so much better. I really attribute them as real mentors to me to help create that kind of excitement in math. I'm an owner of a math store. It's not great. I beg for donations, but when the kids solve their problem of the month, if they do it they can't just give me an answer, they have to have a good explanation of how they came to that answer with numbers, pictures, or words. Then I correct them, I attach a ticket, and they can come spend that ticket at my store. I feel like I work with just great people. And so when they came to even talk about this award, the first thing out of my mouth was, I shouldn't be getting this. You know, it should be every one of those teachers that are slugging it out in that room every day with those kids, because they are really the award winners to me.
My name is Jeanette Jenkins, and I teach AP English and journalism and teach a base camp class at Viewmont High School. And I have taught, this is my 27th year that I'm finishing. AP English is something that I never thought I would teach, and have been surprised to find that it feels pretty comfortable. The kids are all smarter than I am, but I have information, and I can help prepare them for the kinds of thinking and writing and reading that they'll do in college. So I've found my comfort here, which I did not necessarily expect. Being department head I was the slowest to say no. So that's not necessarily something that anybody aspires to in a high school. But I do have amazing colleagues in this department who are supportive and willing to do whatever is best for the students at Viewmont High School. The English department at Viewmont has great success on every level, from our teachers who teach resource kids to every class. It's just the teachers care about the students, and overall a wonderful department. I recently read an interview with Lin-Manuel Miranda, a writer of the musical Hamilton, who said the ability to engender empathy and create a whole world using only words is the closest thing we have to magic. And I think about that when I share literature with students. Year after year, I get to introduce them to the magic of these worlds: Lord of the Flies, Hamlet, Great Expectations, Frankenstein. It's just words. And yet we live in those worlds while we're studying those words. And that's part of the payoff of teaching literature. We look at the New Yorker every week. Educationally, I justify it because the covers often show satire. It's visual text, which is a part of the AP language curriculum. We learn about irony and juxtaposition and metaphor and lots of the terms that we use in AP English. But for me, it's also the way that I connect with the students. I want them to laugh with me at the beginning of every class. So if there's not a New Yorker, I tell a dumb joke or I pull something from my files so that it feels like we've become connected as we begin the lesson every day. The thing I love about this job year after year for 27 years is the teenagers. I laugh every day with teenagers. They keep me young. I am not sitting in a meeting. If I ever go to a meeting and sit in a meeting for a while, I think, I could not do this. But I can be in a classroom with 30 teenagers and learn with them, learn from them, teach them. Every day, I love it. And when I say goodbye to a class at the end of the year, I always think, oh, well, I like the next year, and I always do.
I'm Shauna Lund. I'm the Community Relations Specialist for the Davis School District, and I've worked here for about 7 years. For about 20 years, I worked as a newspaper reporter, columnist, and editor for various newspapers up in Idaho and then in Ogden. And always enjoyed writing, always enjoyed communicating, doing stories on people, finding out different things about people. And a job opening came available in the Davis School District. So I thought, why not? Let's try that. That's something I could really get behind and enjoy. When I first came to the Davis School District, I had done one video, and that was to apply for the job. And so since I've been here, we've switched cameras, we've switched editing programs, and all of it has been learned on the fly. So as I did my job, I just learned to use a new program or learned to use a different camera. And so it's kind of a lot of fun and sometimes kind of scary because you don't quite know how this works, and we're immediately going out and using the technology. So look at me, not at the camera.
Okay,
Yep.
Okay.
I find myself in difficult situations all the time in this job. You start out with a plan for the day, and that day immediately gets taken away from you for various reasons. And when I first started in this position, I had just barely started learning the ropes a little bit, had been involved in a couple of meetings, and Chris Williams, the Community Relations Director, went on vacation. And I went into one of the meetings. We were doing a bond campaign, and I went into the meeting and they said, okay, we want to change just about every slide in the PowerPoint presentation. Well, I'd used PowerPoint about this much, and kind of ooh, what am I going to do? And are they going to fire me because I don't know how to use PowerPoint very well? So I Googled a lot of things, I played with a lot of things, and I was able to change the entire PowerPoint. And I think that background of just being able to kind of roll with the punches comes from my journalism career. You never knew from day to day what you were going to get into. In my role as community relations specialist, I get to go out into the schools quite often to cover great events, and it's interesting. I see why people are teachers, because you can walk into a school and these kids don't know me. They don't know who I am. I'm a girl with a camera or a video camera. And I just recently went in to shoot video of kids planting little seeds in little cups. And I walked into the classroom and I was a total rock star. And I had 10 little kids come up and wrap their arms around my legs, and they were just so excited to have me there. And being a reporter, most people weren't excited to have you there. And so it just is a great feeling to be around kids and to be around people who care about kids. I just can't think of a better job.
I'm Carol Peterson. I am lucky to be the head counselor here at Woods Cross High School, and I've worked in the district for probably 25 years. I graduated, first of all, in communicative disorders and speech therapy, and I thought I was going to go that route. I got married and had my beautiful children, and then determined that I needed to go back for part-time. And so an opening in the Career Center here at Woods Cross came open, and I took that job. It was part-time, and a good principal came and said to me, you need to go get paid for what you are doing, guiding students to college and scholarships and careers, and even crisis things I dealt with. I've always enjoyed listening to people, and I think that's one thing I really bring to this job, is that I listen to students. I want to hear their story, because their perception could be different than reality, but it's their perception, it is their reality. So as I listen and try to figure out some of their misperceptions or perceptions, I get a better sense of how I can counsel them. I do enjoy working with all kinds of students, from the Sterling Scholars to the academically motivated to the kids who are really struggling. I get such an energy burst from coming to school every day and working with those students. And I hope I bring peace to them. I think, some days I'm going to come in and I'm going to get a lot of work done, get some students called in, and then I'll have some crisis. Those days are hard, but I thrive on some of that. Boring is never a verb in my vocabulary in this job. I've never been bored, ever. I'm the gatekeeper for a lot of the crisis situations. I can refer out, and that's why I really like the counseling aspect, because I'm not a social worker. I don't have to deal with the negative day in and day out. I can go down and listen to the madrigal sing when I have a hard day. I was looking over the nomination, and I was very touched to see that Rochelle, a student of mine, actually she's a student that goes to another counselor, but she's just adopted me, wrote some very special things about me that I was surprised she remembered, but was very, very touched that she had done that. She is a wonderful student and had had some hard things happen in her life, and was able to come and share that with me. and we work through some of those things. Impact Team is an amazing group that I train. We talk about different issues that teenagers have as far as suicide prevention and bullying and peer pressure and eating disorders, and help them to put on scenarios that we can process with students to help them know that there are venues and paths that they can take if they have those problems. And I'm passionate about that students who walk these halls need to know that they have a place to come, that there's someone out there that can then help them with their issues and their problems.
Hi, my name is Esther Powell. I work at North Davis Junior High. I am the attendance secretary here. I have worked here for about 7 years. You know, remembering names, it surprised me to remember teachers' names, students' names, parents' names. I don't know, it was just something as I started in this job. I think it's because I felt that we sometimes are the only kind face students get to have. And so I thought if I learn your name, then they will know somebody notices them. In the efforts to increase attendance here at North Davis, one of the things is that I run a report every morning, and you know what's hard is that a lot of the same kids appear on that report for absences, for chronic absences. So what I do, and I work with administration and the counselors, is that I try and call the parents, hence the connection. So because we have this relationship already, I can talk to the parents and say, hey, what's going on? Is there something more going on that we don't know? Sometimes we have situations where students are in hospital, or a parent has passed, or a loved one has passed. And so it's like saying, okay, you know, being understanding, and then saying to them, you know, when they're ready, you know, we want to be a part of helping him come back into school, or her, and to help them to be successful here. I think as secretaries, we're the semantics. We are the details. And we get to be able to say, okay, this is what's happening. And so, you know, and so they get everybody gets an idea of what's happening with this one child and this one child, you know. So not as a group, but I do the individual, and to help to, by them being here, then they can be successful. You know, they can get the work that they need. And sometimes it's a slow process, and sometimes, you know, they jump into it really good. Being in the front office, and the first one as they come in the doors, we don't know what comes in. Sometimes they're pretty mad. Sometimes it's like, you know, I want to see this student right now because they were bullying my kid, and they'd just fire. And it's like, okay, just give me a minute. And generally if I know them, it's like, okay, give me a sec. Let me find out what's going on. Have a seat. I'll be right with you. I'll have somebody that can help you. And it is, and I feel that we have an opportunity. We buffer some of those edges off. When I pondered about what would be the most rewarding day that I've had, and what it came down to was at Christmas time, we had the opportunity to help kids with shoes, with gift cards through the foundation. And I get the opportunity to find out who those kids are. And I know them. I know a lot of them. And I think when they come in, and you know they don't have shoes, and you know that they don't have a lot, and you get to be a part of that. We have a student last year, and after Christmas, he came and he said, Miss Powell, he said, this was the best Christmas ever. I got home and I had shoes, and they had a gift card to go to Walmart, and he said, thank you so much. And I think that's the best day. If you want to, it's to be able to help.
My name's Susie Summercorn. I teach at Clearfield High School. I have been teaching here for about 24 years, and as a true Falcon, I bleed green. I came to Clearfield High because they needed a female role model. When I first started teaching, I actually have a degree in English. I could have taught English, but there were so few women math teachers that I was snatched up to teach math as a role model. I figured out a long time ago that I could take my math degree and I could make, or my math background, and I could make a lot of money doing something else. But I really love teenagers. They make me laugh. They do the funniest things. They get my jokes. Perhaps that's a comment on myself, but I have these group of boys in my calculus class, and for like 2 weeks, they showed up with sunglasses on. And I'm like, what is with this? And they said, these are our math goggles. We learn better when we wear these. And one boy took one pair off, and he had another one underneath. I mean, they make you laugh. What other job gets that? I like teaching math because it relates to everything. It is the language of pure logic. Galileo has said that mathematics is the language that the universe was written in. And that makes perfect sense to me, because if you understand math, you understand how to take the big picture, the whole picture, and you understand the details that lead up to it. So in my class, on occasion, my students will get me off topic, or we'll discuss a math thing and we'll apply it. And you can talk about history, you can talk about science, you can talk about current social issues, you can talk about English, because math teaches you logic, and that's what we want these kids to do. I honestly believe one of the best things about teaching is the collaborative nature of it. We are all smarter together than we are separately. My colleagues in this department are fabulous. We are so collaborative, and we do it because our main goal is to help kids. You know, we're together in this, and it's a good thing. The kids benefit from it, and you have wonderful relationships with the people you work with. You know, teaching is one of the only jobs in the world where you walk in one day and you say, that went well, I am the world's best teacher, I am so good at this, they ought to pay me $1 million. Then the next day you walk out and you think, boy, did that flop. I am so bad. What am I going to do? These kids are scarred for life. But that's the nature of teaching. What makes it valuable is the feedback from the kids. Up until this year, every year I've taught a remedial math class. It keeps my feet on the ground because these kids are very often unmotivated. And when you see the light come on, when they are successful, not just once, but several times in a row, it can change the direction of their self-image and where they're headed in life. And they come back to visit you. I got an email from a student who I'd had, I don't know, maybe 12 years ago, and he was getting his PhD at Arizona State University. And he was a student that was in my regular class, and I encouraged him at semester to go to honors. And he was writing to tell me that my belief in him had changed his direction and made him feel successful. I mean, what other job gets that kind of payback?
I am Debbie Simons. I work at Kaysville Elementary as the head secretary, and I've worked for the school district for 17 years. When the position opened for the head secretary at the school I was working at, I was working part-time in the office and decided that that would be a great place to go and continue my career here at Davis School District. I try to keep a sense of calm about the office. We try to have a positive spin on everything that goes on in the office, and that's no matter what's happening, we try to react in a positive way. The days do fly because we are busy almost all the time. If we have a quiet moment, it's rare and strange to us because we are always doing something. So one of our students was playing soccer and fell and was in excruciating pain, as evidenced by her screaming. And so we just do our best to get them in, try to settle them down, and get a hold of parents all at the same time. So we're icing it. We're trying to talk to them and just calm them down as best we can and get the parents on their way as quickly as possible. I think when you work in an elementary school, you develop a sense of calm with the kids because you don't want them freaking out. You don't want the teachers freaking out. And if you stay calm, then everyone around you will generally stay calm. So I do work at trying to make sure I can maintain that and keep everybody around us on an even keel. My coworkers and I are a great team, and we use comedy a lot as our relief from some of the stresses that we have to deal with. And we just like to sing or engage in other fun things that will kind of keep the mood lighter and help us deal with what's going on. I would say that I am probably known for fixing things. When problems are presented to me, I will Google a lot and use that as a resource. I can do that quickly, and usually I can find a solution to the problem. It's great to get to know the kids. The kids really make the job worthwhile, and getting to help them and keep them feeling safe and secure is a large part of the job, and we love having the kids around. They can always make you smile and laugh, and they love you back.
Hi, I'm Susan Wardell, and I work at E.G. King Elementary in Layton. I'm a functional skills teacher's assistant, and I've been working here for 11 years. I chose functional skills because of the kids. I love the students. You gain so much from them that what you give them in return is not nearly as much. It's something that you can go home at the end of the day and feel I made a difference today. One of the things I really like about my job is the teacher will listen for new ideas. Like, the job is a smaller list. You know, these are what your job is, but then if you say, I would like to teach science, I would like to bring this in and help the kids have some hands-on, the teacher's great. That's what I want to do, because I think the teachers in special ed really appreciate that they have a team to work with. And so they've always been very open to, yeah, try that, do it, it sounds good. I've always been drawn to science. I love science. I love learning about animals and plants and environment and chemicals and all that. And with our kids especially, any hands-on things are fun. Like today I have a geography lesson, and they're going to be making mountains, and they're going to be doing some erosion. And I find with our kids, like, whatever the topic is, the more hands-on and science experiments, the happier they are. And one of the things I love about our kids is they're very forgiving. Like, we did water for the water cycle last Friday, and 3 or 4 of my experiments worked, and one just bombed. So I just told them, this is what it's going to do. They didn't care. They were, that's great, you know, let's do the next one. I'm lucky. I love my job so much, and it's nice they pay me to do it, because the perks of my job are so awesome. Like just today, we had to have an indoor recess because it was raining. And sometimes the kids, you know, like all kids don't play together really well. Oh, there were little groups of 3 or 4 playing together. It was so neat. I could just watch and go, let's just keep it longer. They're doing so good. The reason why I started volunteering in the library is I think it's fun to learn new things. And I love my job, but I've never tried being a librarian. And it was a new thing. And to me, it was a lot more fun than going to take a university class and sitting by yourself and paying the money, you know. And I come in, I interact with the kids. Our librarian's wonderful to work with, and I'm learning a new skill. I think we have it better than the teachers in the regular classes, because they have their student for 1 year. And so they see like this much growth from, you know, the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Still have them for at least 3 years, and there you see the growth, there you see the change, there you're able to see where they started behaviorally and where they ended, the personality growth. It's just awesome. So I want to thank the people who nominated me, and the letters they wrote were just beautiful. And you do your little things and you try to do your best, and you think, well, I probably don't matter, you know? And reading the letters and you know you did, and you know that it made a difference.
My name is Shandy Chittister. I'm a third grade teacher here at Holbrook Elementary, and this is my first year of teaching. When I found out I was Rookie of the Year, my reaction was complete surprise. I think like any first year teacher, I lay awake at night wondering if I'm doing all of this right and doing everything I should do. I just love my students, really love my students, and so I feel like maybe that's what's carried through. I've always wanted to teach. I love to teach. As a little kid, I would gather up the neighbor kids and try to teach little classes. But you know, life kind of took twists and turns, and I thought maybe that opportunity had passed me by. And I became the para-educator here at Holbrook. I was the resource aide, and my very first week back, I knew I was going to finish my degree and teach. Awesome mistakes are kind of a core of my classroom because we all make mistakes, and I think kids are afraid to make mistakes. They feel this need to be perfect, and then I don't want them to shy away from trying because they don't understand or because they're afraid of making a mistake. So we call them awesome mistakes. We celebrate them. When I make a mistake, I call attention to it, and we then find the solution. And where did we go wrong? And then we see that it's a learning process. So I give out brain bucks, like for great thinking, great answers, often for mistakes, because it's helped the class learn something. So they've become less afraid to make them. Writing, it was something that seemed to really intimidate my students. You know, I get a lot of, I don't know what to write, or I don't know what to do or where to get started. But when I told them we were going to take their writing and make it into short films, they lit up. And it's fun to see your writing. When they're writing a script versus just writing a paragraph, and then it's fun and engaging. And so I had done it in some student teaching, and I love technology, I love film, I like making short movies, so we tried it. And it makes a mess and chaos, and they love it. Our theme this year at Holbrook is Heroes of Today, Heroes of Tomorrow. So instead of just giving them a writing journal, I gave them a superhero journal. And we started out by, the very first thing they told me is what their superpowers are. And I explained to them that we all have superpowers. It can be that we smile and make someone's day, that we are a great writer, a great soccer player, great at math, and that we all have weaknesses too. So we focused first on our strengths and what makes us great and superheroes and our superpowers. And we use those to help them with things they struggle with. Coming to the end of my first year, I feel a lot of things. I know that I've made the right choice to teach, and that's great. It's a great confirmation having gone through all the work to get here. I love it. I love every minute of my job. I love watching the kids light up and say, oh, now I get it, or giving a hug when they're sad. But I'm stressed about testing like every teacher. Hoping I've taught them everything I need to teach them, trying to prep them to go to fourth grade and really get that last push. And I'll be so sad to let them go. I kind of adopt them for a year and they become partially mine. So.
I'm Spencer Young, Jr. I'm the president of the Young Automotive Group here in Davis County and in Weber County and a couple other places. And we have an initiative with our dealerships and our group, and it's called Young Caring for Our Young. And it's where we get involved, and we feel deeply about this, with the kids and the school district to help out and to give back. We choose to donate to the schools and to the school district to help the kids out and the children. My kids, they are students in Davis County, actually here in Layton, and a lot of our employees around here, their kids go to the schools around here. And we feel that if we get involved at that level in the community, it helps to develop those children at a critical time in their lives to help them grow better or do better in our community going forward in their lives.
My name is Jared Price, and I work at Young Kia in Kaysville. So the Stuff the Bus, we've been doing it for a few years now, and the purpose is to raise funds and school supplies for the Davis School District Foundation. It kind of goes to the underprivileged students, and each year we're able to raise upwards between $10,000 and $15,000 between cash donations and school supplies. It's really fun. Last year we had a great event. We actually bring an actual school bus, the yellow and black school bus from the school district. We park it on the dealership, and for a whole week we start to ask people to bring in donations. We usually have 2,000 people attend the event over a few day period of time.
My name is Russ Cooper. I'm the general manager at Young Chevrolet. The Trunk or Treat event is an event we do every year here. Basically what we do is we partner with Davis Education Foundation and a bunch of local businesses. We line up a bunch of our cars, get great support from the community, and we have thousands of kids here that come in and roll around. There's activities for them, play games, prizes, events, coloring contests, all to raise funds for the schools.
My name is Jeff Kendall. I'm the general manager at Young Buick GMC in Layton, Utah. We had our Spring into Literacy event in March, and that is with the Davis Education Foundation. We invited students from all the Davis County schools down, and we had 3 authors show up. We gave away books. We had a coloring contest where we donated $5 for every entry, and we got about $1,700. So our donation to the Davis Education Foundation is $8,500 this year. There was probably 3,000 people on our lot that day. We had chalk art, face painting, food trucks. It was really a great event.
Hi, my name's Oliver Young. I'm the sales director for the Young Automotive Group and Rocky Mountain Raceways, and the board president of the Davis Education Foundation. One of the reasons we love to get involved with Rocky Mountain Raceways and the Davis Education Foundation is because of the awesome ties that we have. We're putting together a new event called the Race for Schools. It's coming up here in the next in June. And it's a fun event where we get to invite all of our participants in the Education Foundation to come out and race for schools. They actually get to race a bunch of different racing cars like Mustangs and Camaros and Chargers, and just have a blast on our quarter-mile drag strip. We're hoping that it'll raise thousands of dollars for the school district to, again, help our teachers and help our students.